My name is Terra Stewart. I am the sister of Luke Stewart, who was murdered by a Euclid police officer. I stayed in Euclid from 2000, I want to say maybe 2009 up until 2017. My experience with them prior to that, I didn't have much. I was really, come home, go to work, come home, go to work type situation. So I didn't have any run-ins with them.
What kind of reputation? I mean, had you heard a reputation about the Euclid PD?
Yeah, I had heard that, be careful. They're very racist, just be on the lookout for them. Don't try your best not to get pulled over by them, is what I've heard in the past. I found out about this on the news. I was watching the news. About 9 o'clock news kept coming across the screen. Police involved shooting in Euclid. I see my brother's car. I thought that was his car, at least at the point. Wasn't for sure. So, I'm looking, I'm like, okay, I think that is his car. So at this point, I tried calling him, no answer. So I tried calling around to all the local hospitals. They didn't have him in none of the local hospitals. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I have to go up to the police department to find out what's going on. I go up to the police department. I asked the lady that was sitting behind the desk, I say, I'm here about the incident that's going on outside. The lady says to me, what incident? I say, the incident that your officers are literally walking to from here. She says, oh, okay, have a seat. I have a seat. Shortly after that, a female officer comes out and talks to me, and she asks me again, why am I here? I say, I'm here because I'm concerned about the incident that's going outside. I think my brother may have been involved. She says to me, she asks me what's his name. I tell her his name is Luke Stewart. She say, okay. She asked me for his date of birth, gave him his date of birth. She left, she came back with a picture of him. She says, does this look like your brother? I said, yeah, that looks like him, but it's like an old picture because he done picked up some weight since then. So then she asked me, well, what's my mom's name? So I gave her my mom's name. She asked me for her phone number. I gave her phone number. She asked me for my name and phone number. I gave her that. She said someone be in contact with us. So at this point, I go home. I'm like, Mom, something's not right. I can't get a hold of Luke. I done called around to every hospital. They say they don't have him. They don't even have a John Doe, because I was asking that question as well. So at this point, me, my mom, and my two cousins, we go back up to Euclid Police Department, because at this point, this is the person they can release information to. My mom just go in and just was like, y'all killed my son. And the lady was like, no, 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 give us a minute. And then she gave us a yellow sticky note with the medical examiner's number on there and told us to call the medical examiner's office. Upon walking out of their front doors, my cousin was calling the medical examiner's office. The lady put her on hold. Before we can get to our cars good, the lady clicked back over and said, yeah, that was Euclid Police Department verifying his social security number. And that's how we found out Luke was killed.
Someone called the cops. What would you say to that person?
The only thing that I would say to that person is, if you were gonna call out, I wish you would have stayed to see what happened. You called and you just went on about your day. I feel like if you were that concerned about whatever was going on in that car, you would have waited to see. This incident took place, I want to say, about 6:45, 7 in the morning. By the time we had confirmation that it was him, it was roughly afternoon. The things that we demanded were, see as though there was no body camera footage. We wanted footage of of everything that could have possibly happened. We wanted the officers that did this off the street. We just feel like the police department did not reach out to us in no way, shape, or form. Typically in a homicide, who's at the victim's door? The police. They said nothing to us. It's like they kept trying to push us away. Everything we demanded, it was like, no. But a nice no. Or brush you under try to brush you off. Like, we hear you, but okay, we have to put on the front for the news and the media, that type of situation. We had went to one of their city council meetings, trying to demand, at this point, because the officers were still working after this, we had to go to a city council meeting to demand they be taken off the street until the investigation is complete. At this city council meeting, the officer that killed my brother was receiving a recommendation.
How did that feel?
Like a knife to the heart. Like, this man just roughly killed somebody, and you guys gonna say and give him a recommendation. So it was like, well, did you guys want him to kill him? Was this a part of the plan? Because even though if he could have got this recommendation for something else, hey, this here just came up, you're under the fire for this, we got to bring that back. So I feel like, yeah, that was a definitely kicking ass, a slap in the face. Who puts humor in excessive force training? That's something you take serious. You out here dealing with people. This is something close to military training. I've been to the military. They didn't have no humor in nothing they trained us to do. So to say that was humor, I feel like that was just basically telling your officers to go out there and be reckless. Period. You don't have no consequences or repercussions to nothing you do. Just go do what you want, and we're gonna find it funny.
The city had formally agreed to meet within 48 hours to discuss Officer Rhodes' future with the department. Did that meeting ever happen?
No, it got canceled and still never happened.
What got canceled? Just so I don't have to.
The meeting that we were supposed to set up between the chief and I guess the mayor to sit down to try to come up with some type of solution so this won't happen again. The meeting never happened. Something happened where the mayor couldn't attend, or it was another incident where the chief couldn't attend, and no one ever rescheduled. Once again, like they don't care.
How has the family been coping with this over the last 3 years?
It's been hard. Luke's birthday is Sunday. The day Luke was killed was my daughter's birthday. So it's going to be hard on myself, my daughter, everybody in the family, because it's not saying that you forget about stuff like that, but sometimes the day could slip you and you're like, oh, but you don't have a choice but to remember. My daughter that was her 11th birthday. So it's like, it took a toll on my mom. My mom's health has been, going down, but she's still trying for the most part. His kids miss him, they talk about him. Just say things like, oh, I wish the police didn't kill my dad, Then, hey, that was my little brother. Me and my oldest brother, we both miss him to death. Like, if we could reverse the hands of time, we definitely would. But right now, at this point, we just want some type of justice at the end of the day. We don't want this to happen to another family. Because at the rate it's going to happen. Because they don't discipline their officers for anything. So, for the most part, it's just heartbreaking, especially to continue to see the police shootings going on across the world, and it makes you relive that very moment all over again. And it's just like, you think like they think they got away. You understand? Like, how do you shoot somebody 5 times? That's a bit excessive for me. Well, accountability would look like to me is, as a whole over the department, I want to know why weren't their dash cams or their body cams activated? Isn't that a part of their policy and procedures? Isn't that what they were put in place for situations like that? My biggest goal is to have that department investigated, and they need to come up with some new laws to prevent this from happening. Also, new leadership definitely is needed out there. As far as accountability, like a person being accountable for their actions, tell me, how did you get into this situation? What happened that led up to that? Because this is not the truth that you're telling. So that's even more reason why I'm really on the body camera issue, the body camera and the dash cams. Because from my understanding, the dash cams, the red and blue lights activates the dash cams. So why didn't you guys even have your red and blue lights on so he can even acknowledge who you were? What was the plan? What was the motive? That's a part of the accountability, right? That's a big part of it right there for me. Because even if we would have had footage to see what happened, we don't know nothing but what you're telling us.
shining the bright lights into the car as they did would have blinded him.
Exactly. So that's right. It's self-explanatory. So to say, you're saying you did this, but why? Why did, if you didn't know who he was, you just got a phone call saying that a car has been parked idle. All of this, why did you do all of what you did? Both officers, and not just Rose, both. You had a choice. Another thing that upsets me is it happened right down the street from your department. Like literally right down the street, like maybe about max 10 minutes walking distance. So just how fast the vehicle could have got there. Another thing is, I have several questions, like the type of gunshot wounds that Luke sustained. They took him to Euclid Hospital. Euclid Hospital couldn't help him. Anybody knows that. We got 2 trauma centers here, Metro or University. The type of gunshot wounds he had, he wasn't supposed to go there. So it makes me also think they broke protocol. I think my brother was dead on the scene and they moved his body. That's what I honestly feel. That's something else. There's a lot of things that they've done on their part to try to cover this up, because the way I feel about it, if it was a simple mishap or you guys felt like you was completely in the wrong, you would have spoke out. Hey, this is what happened. You guys completely avoided us as much as you could until we came to you. To them, should I say. And then you have young men that's stereotype. That basically, this is what the department has done. They stereotype African Americans. They did that within their excessive training. Clearly. So, with that being said, with Euclid being made up of majority black, that's a big problem. Because it's clearly that y'all saying that in so many words, you guys are racist. Your department is racist, should I say. The news basically told everything. They reworded some things that I really didn't too much care for, because they want to keep saying something about a marijuana roach being in a car, but that still doesn't constitute to no one's death. At the end of the day, a situation should have never went as far as it went, especially with your department literally feet away. Is how I feel. That's why I feel like they knew what they were doing. Period. You are given things to protect you. The body cameras are not for also the civilian protection, they're for their protection. That was a choice that I think someone said it was not mandatory for them to use their body cameras or something like that in their policy or whatever. I think that should be made mandatory from then on out actually. But that still doesn't constitute the reason why you didn't turn your red and blue lights on, even if you didn't have your body cameras on. What was you're supposed to be approaching a vehicle? Aren't you gonna want to? And how you make people, when you pulling someone over, what do? They turn their lights and their sirens on to make you aware they're pulling you over. So why wasn't this done in this situation? Like, it's like they are given a pass to do what they want. They don't care, like, until someone steps in and say, hey, we need to look into, is something wrong within this department, it's gonna get worse.